Hey, sorry guys. Kind of weird thing. Windows 10 decided to update, and it was just a big pile of crap. It was terrible. So we're just going to. I just got to do a couple other things. Um, Here, I'm going to edit this post. So I got to delete this. Put this back in here in a minute. Sorry. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and what you were discussing right before we kicked off?
Well, before that, I proceeded to talk about what's her face, Grey Worm and Missandei before that scene. Before I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that. What did you guys think of that? Because I already said my thoughts. I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
I thought it was a very, very awkward and unnecessary scene, and I feel like they just threw it in our face just to make us feel uncomfortable.
Because me and him, the whole time we were watching this, we were just like, I was really confused. I was like, how is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Like the guy doesn't have anything down there, and it was kind of awkward, especially the part where like he went in for the kiss. When he went in for the kiss, it was the most awkward thing because it was like, I don't know where they're gonna go from here.
Yeah, it was
the guy doesn't have the equipment to finish the job. It's just like a union job, but it was terrible. Like it felt unnecessary, and it just was awkward. Like the whole time, I even looked at him. And I was like, this is super awkward. So yeah, that's how we felt with that. It was weird. So
unnecessary, really.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's exactly what I said. It was just weird, unnecessary. I didn't understand. I was watching it with my roommate, and when that scene turned on, I'm like trying to skip it. I'm just like, I don't even want to see this scene. I hope there's some type of expedition in this scene, because like I really don't want to watch this. Just this, it's like seeing like a spayed dog like humping a guy's leg. You're just like, dude, I feel so bad for you, man. Stop.
They only threw it in because they needed to show the first boobs of the season.
That's pretty much
true.
it. And I think like
we got to see the first babs of the season.
I think like they were like, yeah, we messed up by not having Marjorie show anything, so we gotta do Missandei.
Yeah, you can't just blow up one of the hottest characters before we get to see her tits.
I mean, I could do without it. I could do without all that. I would much rather just watch the show without any of that. But it does show like that was prevalent still. So I mean, whatever. Take it as it is. I'm like, I was more excited. Like I know there's people who get really excited about the whole like, yay boobies. I'm one of those people that's just like, yay Nymeria. Where's Gendry? Like stuff like that.
Where's Gendry?
Where's Gendry?
He should be ripped carrying a warhammer the next time I see that boy, because he's been rowing for 7 seasons, 5 seasons, whatever. He's been rowing for a while, so he gotta be jacked. Yeah. He better be wielding a freaking warhammer to show off his father. Like, all right. So further on, what'd you guys think of Arya and Hot Pie? Like that whole scene.
Well, I just want to say that I was so happy before this. I was so happy that they brought a character back from a long time ago.
Yep.
And I was so happy that Reek finally showed back up.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I was talking about too. But we'll get to that because let's be honest.
Come on, like when that happens in the episode, I looked right at Dakota and I was like, I'm so glad they brought Reek back. Oh, okay. So yeah, I was really happy that Hot Pie was back, because like when he sat down and I was like,
he shook the table.
Yeah, he said some really important stuff to her.
Yeah, like it was really important.
He probably spoke the most important stuff the whole episode. Like he's like, hey, I'm going to be the #1 reason why you turn tail. And you know what? I'm kind of torn with it.
Because I kind of wanted to see her kill Cersei.
Exactly. We're going to see it like later in the series. That's just like Cersei's going to do all these horrible things. And all that time, I'm going to be thinking to my head, if Arya would have just went to King's Landing and killed Cersei, none of this would have been a problem.
Freaking hot pie.
True, yeah.
But freaking hot pie, I had to tell her about Jon. But I am happy to see a Stark reunion. I'm on that fanboyism. After a while, I think I'm going to get so tired about like the frustration of everyone. I'm just like, I want the Night King to win just so I can just see everyone die. I want that dread. I'm like, what's that called where you love pain? Not narcissistic. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember. So if anyone in the comments knows what that is, please put that in the comments so we can figure out.
Yeah, because we want to understand. Yeah, because we want our comments just to be people being like, sadist. It's a sadist. I thought of it now. Sadist.
Sadist. Okay.
You just want our comments to be going off about it. No, that's how it is. Cool. So hot pie. So I jumped on to Nymeria and the wolves after that because I'm like, finish up, Arya. Go straight onto it. So Austin, I'm going to start like picking out you two versus just asking you guys in general. I'm going to ask you specifically. What do you think about Arya and Nymeria's interaction?
Okay, so at first I didn't think it was going to be the dire wolves. You brought that up. I actually thought it was someone else that I was thinking. I was thinking it was probably she would have met Bran. Or it was probably Benjen Stark or someone else. I didn't think it was going to be like the direwolves at all. But then after he brought that up, I was like, wow, we haven't heard from that in a long time. So yeah, that would be something. This is like the episode where everyone finds out the information they want at one time. We got to see Jon and Daenerys, they know each other now, kind of. The direwolf and Arya. Arya now knows that Jon is the North, King of the North and stuff. So that kind of like leads up to that. But overall, I like the interaction, but I don't know how I feel with the last thing she says, though, because me and him have different opinions on it, because I think that it wasn't the right direwolf. I think it was some other direwolf, and she thought it was hers, because the last thing she says is, that's not you. That's not you. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I don't know how to take that.
But so you took it literally like that wasn't Nymeria.
I just took it as maybe it was another direwolf, because we have, the only direwolves we know that are still existence is her direwolf and Jon's direwolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know.
I took it differently.
Yeah. What'd you take it as, Dakota? I want to hear your thoughts.
I took it as when she said that's not you. I took it more or less as that Nymeria, she understood that Nymeria had already went on her own way and had her, like her own life set up now with this wolf pack, and that her going off and fighting with Arya just wasn't her. It wasn't in her heart. It wasn't in her nature at that point.
Okay, so I agree with Dakota on this one, because we know that's not Nymeria because it perfectly matches Nymeria. I think there was two things in this situation why it was Nymeria and what happened there. One, we knew it was Nymeria because also in the books it talks about how Nymeria joins, pretty much takes over a wolf pack, and then she becomes the alpha wolf pack that in the books kind of goes throughout and just murders a bunch of soldiers in the Riverlands at that time. The other thing is, I think Nymeria went on the same thing that Arya did. So Arya went from being this little girl into this killer who has her own life and agenda. And I think Nymeria went from this house-born pet into a pack leader. And Arya's like, come home with me. I'm going home. Come with me, Nymeria. And Nymeria like looks at her, and you could see no anger in her. I thought for a second that I was pretty sure Nymeria was going to like bite off her hand. I was like, oh crap, we're going to see this.
That's what I said. I was like, look, it's another Fenrir in tears moment.
Yeah, exactly. But then when like Nymeria moves, I think the reason why she says like that's not you, Nymeria, is because that is no longer the Nymeria that Arya knew. That is a pack wolf. And that's why she can't go home with Arya, because she's no longer Arya. And I think this is going to tell something about Arya. I think at the end of Game of Thrones, if Arya is alive, she will not stay at Winterfell. She's going to leave and go off. And I think it's the same way that Nymeria can't go back to Winterfell, just like Arya in the end can't go back to Winterfell. Yeah. So that's how I took it. And I like that headcanon in my head.
So this was interesting. I don't know if you brought this up yet. But the biggest thing is, before this was said, let's go back to King's Landing. There's a part where the hand of Cersei takes her down in like the dungeon, chamber things.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, go on, talk about this.
And the thing was before that happened, way before that happened, it was when Jaime and them were talking. I looked at Dakota and I was like, there has to be something very there has to be more with the Iron Throne. And he's like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, they always talk about the Iron Throne, the seat and everything. I was like, I think, and I said this, he can testify this. I said, what if the whole seat's made out of Valyrian steel? Or dragon, or dragon steel, or dragon glass, or whatever, and
I want to encourage your idea, Austin. But I'm also going to tell you about some of the history of Game of Thrones. So those swords are the melted down swords of all the people who fought against the Conqueror Targaryen. I for some reason skipped Aegon the Conqueror. Yeah. So they are not Valyrian steel. Now there could be some Valyrian inside of it, but here's where what you're saying could hold something. This is actual theory. If you look it up online, it's a legit theory that people have. And it's in the process of making Valyrian steel. Because there are people who believe to make Valyrian steel, you need to combine dragon glass with swords, with iron swords, and dragon fire. Now, whenever Aegon the Conqueror came over and took over Westeros, there wasn't any real killer, like any dragon glass users. It was just mainly the iron wielders and steel wielders or whatnot. However, because they landed on Dragonstone, there's a possibility that Aegon found this dragon glass cove and used it to make weapons. So there is a possibility that Dragonstone dragon glass got mixed in with them through fighting or whatnot, and then whenever he melted all the swords and everything together, it made Valyrian steel out of the seat.
That makes sense, because we were talking about that, and I kind of was like, they really haven't talked about that in the show. And then right after they did, they said, that was they showed the skull of the dragon that he would ride into battle, and
Valyrian the Doctrine.
And then they were said, well, this is the dragon that also forged some of the Iron Throne. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, hey, that's weird, because I just said something a little while ago about that. So it was a pretty cool concept. But also, too, is the biggest thing I want to talk about is at the beginning of this season, the trailer before it was, they showed the White Walkers, and then they show a dragon. And it looks like the dragon's dead. So back to what was Cersei doing, because she was down there and they made the big old arrow crossbow,
and it really showed how much it impacted the dragon's skull.
I think I think it's going to lead up to Daenerys's one of her dragons dying, and I think what's going to happen is what I told him. My theory right now on this is they're going to finally attack King's Landing, and in the process they're going to kill the main dragon that she rides. I forget which dragon that is. One. Yeah, the one that saved her.
Drogon.
Yeah, Drogon. And then what happens is that dragon's resurrected for the dead. But also, there's more theories. We'll talk about that later. But I really, really liked that they're showing that Cersei's not completely going to be just invulnerable. Because after she did the whole thing last season and blew up everything that she had for a defense against a navy, it kind of was oh, well, there's really nothing going to help her there. And that's when we were talking about Arya, when you know, he was like, "Oh, is Arya gonna have like a wolf pack?" And then they like turned back, and I was like, "Too OP, way too OP for that," you know. So I kind of felt that like this levels the playing ground for Cersei, you know, over Daenerys. So yeah.
I definitely, I think that I pretty much I know that a dragon's going to die. It's obvious. I don't think it's going to be Drogon. The reason why is because each of the 3 dragons are named after the 3 people who had to die in order to bring them to life. You have Drogo for Khal Drogo, you have Viserys for Viserys, or whatever his name is, and then you have her son's name, which escapes me because the kid died at infantry. You can't blame me. He died season 1. No one cares about anyone who died in season 1. Hashtag Ned Stark. But I'm kidding.
You're doing God's work, Aaron Stark.
You're doing God's work, Aaron Stark. But those are the 3 people who had to die in order to see them to be born. I think in my head, I want to say Viserys' one will die because honestly, no one likes Viserys. But I think it's going to be one of the 2 minor dragons. I don't because Daenerys will be riding Drogo. And I don't think she's going to be on the dragon that gets hit by the bolt. Now, I have a question for you guys. Right now, Daenerys has a strong mindset not to attack King's Landing. She wants to, like, starve them out, make it that Cersei has to give up. What do you think will drive her into attacking King's Landing if a dragon is to die?
I think rage. I think if a dragon does die, I think Daenerys is going to be so upset about it that she just forgets about everything and she just wants to kill.
Okay, if that's why she attacks King Landing, then how would they first kill off a dragon?
Okay, so let's go to you first because you were about to say something and I cut you off. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I just think personally the only way that one of the dragons are going to die is if they start a siege on King's Landing.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see it as in like maybe, you know, she sets up borders and sets up a defense outside of it to try to stop them and starve them out like she said she was going to, you know, and make them surrender. And then possibly they kill one of the dragons while they're waiting outside the walls or something. Because, you know, it could be possibly flying around in the air and they could shoot one down. And that could make her potentially snap and want to attack the city then. But I feel like they're going to need a really strong, good reason for them to go near the city in the first place. And they're also going to have to take care of Casterly Rock, I feel like, before they ever go towards King's Landing.
Yeah. I know for a fact we're going to see Casterly Rock get attacked by the Unsullied because we did see in the trailer. We saw the Unsullied fighting Kingsguard at Castle
Lannister soldiers.
Lannister soldiers. I can't think of the Casterly Rock. What I think is going to happen and why it will set up for her attacking King's Landing is I feel that she is going to see how Tyrion's one plan failed with the Dornish people, and the Tyrell woman is going to convince her to attack Cersei. And that's how it will die. There is another possibility that I have thought of. In the story of the Dance of Dragons, if you listen to it, it's another one of those lore vids. It's narrated by Todd Harris, who is the guy who did Viserys. He's a great voice actor. And he's a great actor. I wish he was more popular for his roles. But he mentions how in the Dance of Dragon, one of the dragons was caught like a trout and pushed into the sea. And dragons die exceedingly fast when underwater because once they get underwater, they get like destroyed. And so what happened was one of the dragons was foolish enough to get close to a ship, and they used arrows to grab onto its wing and pull him into the water. And then they just shot arrows at him until he died. I could see that being one of the ways that Daenerys' dragon's dying by Euron Greyjoy, him doing that. Those are my 2 possibilities on dragons dying. Is either one by the sea or one at King's Landing. I'm terrified for the dragons and those crossbows, though they don't seem very practical in my opinion. It doesn't look like you can move them very much. It doesn't look like you can aim it, but I'm not sold that a dragon will die by one of those things. But it's a strong number 2 on me.
Yeah, and you also got to take in consideration that the skull that they shot was moving and pretty decently close across the room.
Yeah.
It wasn't trying to avoid an arrow coming at it either.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to think about reload time on those things with how big they are. I feel like
it's Game of Thrones, man. Various time, dude.
That's actually what I was just thinking.
Just
just like, it's not going to matter. They're like, we reloaded it in the time for it took one person to say hi.
There was actually 5 of those, boy. You just didn't even know because we made them while you were waiting there. Plus the ships that we made, too, that we have no trees at in our island. Oh, my gosh. It's like the worst. I had so much problems with that.
I think everyone did. Makes sense.
So I brought this up to him outside when we were talking, and I believe that the theory that I have is she's going to attack King's Landing, take King's Landing, and in the midst of the battle, after they find what happens is when they're in the middle of battle, Raven flies in and tells one of them that the wall has fallen, and at that time they kind of like group up and they end up fighting the White Walkers. And I think all next season is going to be like White Walker fighting. And then, kind of leading up to like, what the ending is and stuff, because this is next season's the last season. And we're only getting like 6 episodes, I think, something like that.
7, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's how I think that's what I'm thinking that's going to happen. Like she's going to join their side and like Cersei's going to help and everything, because at this time it's more about survival, like you said, instead of like, hey, who's going to rule the Iron Throne?
Right. It's not about who gets to rule what anymore. I feel like if the reality of the White Walker sets in for everybody in the realm, like in all of Westeros, if they finally realize, hey, the White Walkers are actually coming, the wall's down, there's no way to stop them, and they have an army of White Walkers coming at us, we need to not worry about who rules what now, but more about if we can survive.
Yeah. So let's move on to this. I've been waiting for this. I don't know if you saw the name of the podcast tonight.
Are you asking me? Because
yes.
I don't look at those things, man. I'm superficial.
The podcast name is Nerd Watch Season 7, Episode 2. Sam performs surgery.
Surgeon Simulator.
Surgeon Sam. He's the new co-star on ER.
Let's just talk about how gross that was while he was picking his scab, and then they go into the food.
I was legitimately sitting there, and my roommate was playing games as I'm watching, and he just started like the moaning that Jorah Mormont was doing. I did not feel comfortable. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh man, what the heck? And then as it jumps to like the porridge thing, I just hear Matt over to the side of me just goes, oh, sick. And then I realized it was a pie. I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude.
Well, see, like when we were in the middle of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And then like he started digging in, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is too cringy. I can't watch this. And then once it happened, and then it was like food, I looked over at him. I was like, what is with this season where they're transitioning like crap to food?
Dude, they're doing a great job with transitions. There's so many times where I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I don't want to see any of this crap.
Yeah, but
they're doing a good job.
But I like that Sam's taking the initiative.
Yeah,
and I liked that we got to see that Sam realized who he was, and he was like, "Hey, I knew your father. He was, the Maester, or is that how you pronounce it? Yeah,
he was the Maester.
No, he was the Lord Commander.
Oh, yeah, Lord Commander. So
correction, USA.
PC bro. No.
PC bro, PC Master Race.
But I was just like really shocked about that scene, but I was really excited because because like the scene before that with Sam was with like the Grandmaster, and he was talking about like, hey, look, that you're done after this, you're leaving, it's over. You're not going to have, you're just going to go live with the Stone people. And he's like, I'm just going to give you one more day because you're a knight. And I thought that was great. I thought that was a really cool transition scene because you can kind of see Sam like, I really want to help this person.
Yeah.
So So when I saw that he was going to do surgery, and the part where he's like, "Here, drink this rum," I was like, "Oh yeah, this is really going to hurt," because I wonder what it is. And then once he opened up the book and saw like the scrapes, I was like, "Oh, he's going to have to peel all of that off."
You know it's bad when your surgeon takes a drink before.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is some real crap.
You know what happens.
Now,
Sam should get someone should give him a surprise guest role on Greg's Anatomy, or like like some type of surgery show. So that would be great. And he like helps a burn victim like peel off his scabs or something. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want to see too.
You got to think about how painful that honestly would be of that scaling getting peeled off of your skin, because he said he has to literally like peel off and like cut off the certain amount of tissue to where like so the skin can regrow.
Yeah. Now I will say this. Have you guys read any of the stuff that was in the book that Sam was reading? Because there was some nice little hidden tidbits in there.
Are we talking about the book that he was using for the grayscale, or are we talking about the books from last episode?
Last episode.
Yeah, we saw some things. We talked about the dagger.
Yeah.
We also talked about what was the other one? Dragonstone and stuff like that.
The Dragonstone was sitting on the mountain of dragon glass.
Yeah. Did you guys read anything from it? Because the thing is everything in those books actually is legible. You can read it. And so in the book, during the scene where it's talking about Dragonstone, it says over the light that dragon glass, if ingested, is used as a remedy for many different things. Sam didn't look at that.
It's the milk of the poppy. That's what it is. It's the milk of the poppy.
I wish I understood what you were like trying to say there, Austin. But I was kind of like, what are you talking about, man?
The milk of the poppy.
I'm messing with you. Anyways, I'm confused. There's the belief that in order to cure grayscale, they have to ingest dragon glass. That's what I thought Sam was going to do to him. And then he starts cutting off the skin. And I'm just like, oh, man, it's going to suck real bad if they find out all you have to do is eat a little dragon glass and you're cured of grayscale. Because here's the thing.
What is with this? Like everything like dragons solve everything in this show.
Well, yeah, that's what this season is.
Yeah, it's all like, we have a problem. Dragons. John's like, what are we going to do when we're dead? Come to us.
Let's go to Westeros. Dragon glass, legalize it. Legalize dragon glass, guys. Get out to your voting booths.
It's not a drug. It's not a drug.
It's not a drug. It's medicine. Exactly. I like that. High five. That's great.
Okay. Anyways, that's what I thought was going to happen. But then he was using the other one to cut off the skin and everything. The reason why I think that dragon glass cures dragon scale or stone skin or whatever you call it, I don't know, is because the only other person that they know for a fact was cured of dragon of stone skin, I can't think of the name, was Stance's child.
Yeah. He brought that up. Sam brought that up.
She legitimately lived in a place made of dragon glass. So there is a high probability of her accidentally ingesting some of that.
It's true, too, because when Stannis said that back in earlier seasons on how he solved it, he said that he had all the like high Grand Maesters come to Dragonstone and try to figure out a solution.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why they moved there was probably because it slowed down the process.
No. They moved there because Robert Baratheon gave Stannis that seat as a place of honor for helping with the rebellion. But Stannis freaking hated it. He thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. He's like, this place sucks. Why am I here? I should be the Lord of Lords of Storm End. But no, he wants me here. That's why he was there. That's why he was so bitter the whole time and he like kind of hated Robert. Was that single reason alone.
You mean Robert Baratheon, the limo driver?
Yeah, the limo driver. You know, the smoking Indo, sipping on gin.
Okay, so you don't know this, but there's a movie that we know that actor from, and the only movie that we know it's called Down to Earth with Chris Rock, and he plays his butler. So like when Robert Baratheon showed up, I was like, the guy from Down to Earth? The they picked that guy. So
he's a good actor. I enjoy him a lot. I love his voice.
So Dragonglass is kind of like asbestos, but it's the good asbestos.
Yeah.
Like it's not the bad asbestos.
It's Westerosian ibuprofen.
Westerosian ibuprofen, more like a miracle drug. Legalize Dragonstone. That's what hashtag tonight's episode. Hashtag legalize Dragonstone. Dragonglass. All right, so let's move on.
Let's go on up to the north. I say we just cut up to the north with John and Sansa and wait till Littlefinger.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about first, I just want to say that I'm so happy that John choked Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting for it so much.
It really reminded me of Ned, because in season 1, Ned does the same thing to him outside of the whorehouse,
my boy.
outside of the brothel.
I'm so glad you caught that, because the thing is as he's choking him, he's saying, he's like, "Don't you dare touch my sister." It was the same angle that Ned was doing it to him at that brothel. Furthermore, during that scene, Ned's in the background because it's his statue, just like looking on, kind of like, "That's my boy. That's my cousin, my nephew."
We promote violence in our house.
You mess with our women, we will murder you.
Oh man, that's great.
So it's just a foretones to show that John's going to get beheaded by the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know, that's how.
And then it just repeats. The whole story like starts over with just different characters. George R. Martin's greatest troll moment ever. That's exactly what it is. But no, I want to bring this up is John gets 2 ravens, and both of them are from one's from Sam, talking about that all the dragonglass at Dragonstone, and then the other one is Daenerys. Asking him to come to Dragonstone.
Well, Tyrion sending the message.
Yeah, Tyrion. And what's really funny is they bring back, Sansa when they're talking about it. And he's like, "I shouldn't go. Maybe it's a trick, because all this." And then he goes, "No, it's really Tyrion, because Tyrion told me the same thing when we were together." So I looked at him, I was like, "Man, that would be such a great reunion. Like, I really want to see that reunion of Tyrion and Jon Snow, because I really liked that was actually one of my favorite story arcs through the whole Game of Thrones seasons right now, is probably Jon Snow and Tyrion, and the part where Tyrion's like peeing off the wall and stuff. I thought that was like one of the greatest storylines of the season. I like those character interactions. They really work together. So I'm all excited for it, because now Jon decided, hey, I'm gonna go, and my buddy, Stannis' right-hand man, I always Davos, he's going to go with him, and a couple other people. So I'm really excited, because I want to see this reunion, and I want to, kind of see what really turns up with it, because a lot of people are always pushing forward with the Daenerys and Jon Snow love, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. So we'll see. Now he's going to go meet her, and probably next episode we're probably going to see a little bit of them meeting, or it's probably the whole episode of them meeting completely. But the best part, the biggest part that stood out in that whole scene was when Jon tells Sansa that she's the keeper of Winterfell until he comes back.
The way Littlefinger looks at her when he says that was just cringeworthy.
Because it's totally. Now, here's the thing. One, I have to commend Jon with how he handles the Lords of the North. I think because he has dealt with robbers, rapists, and just jerks on the wall, he knows how to talk to these honorable lordlings. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that even Lade Mormont was like, "You're abandoning your people. Like, we need the King of the North." And Jon just says the right things to get everyone kind of like, okay. Again, Brienne with her freaking smile, I think she like is falling in love with Jon, just because Jon just says the right things, and Brienne's just like, this guy gets me. But when he says like, Sansa, you're going to be the Stark in Winterfell. You'll be the Lord Regent until I get back. The smile, like you could see her on her face, like she, for her first time ever, someone trusts her to do something, and she has this power. I think, I hate to say this, but I think Littlefinger's going to try to kill Jon while he's away. Because,
see, like you have that theory. I'll let you finish with that, but I actually have a different theory. We talked about that, so go ahead.
Because Littlefinger wants to marry Sansa, and he wants Sansa to be queen so he can be king beside her. Jon is a roadblock in her passage. Mm-hmm. And as long as that's a thing, Sansa, like his goal won't work. And so I'm just like, they're going to kill off, he's going to try to kill off Jon. And when Jon returns, he's going to kill Littlefinger, or someone's going to kill Littlefinger. I'm kind of thinking Arya may, because Arya shows up in like the promotional stuff with Littlefinger's dagger, which I feel has some type of significance. I feel that dagger is going to be like the Deus Ex Machina weapon of the series, because that dagger's been everywhere. Like it's the first thing you pretty much saw in the first of the series.
First thing to kill somebody for anyways.
Yeah. And then now it's just like, it's in a book. Yeah, no, that's too much. That's too many like connections. Like, look at the dagger. Look at the dagger. You see this dagger? Yeah, that's important.
Oh, I already know what the dagger does.
It kills people.
No. What it is after you kill so many people, it respawns Ned Stark.
Yeah.
And then it's like a Mr. Macy's box. Ned Stark just dies for no reason.
I think you just gave me a headache.
I'm sorry. I'm cramming your brain with this. I just got to have some humor with it. Okay, you're thinking that he's going to kill Jon.
I think he's going to try to. I don't think Littlefinger is going to be able to. And I think that something is going to happen that will save Jon and ultimately kind of kill Littlefinger, or put him in a situation where he won't do that ever again. Yeah.
So my theory on that, like I said, I think he's actually going to kill Sansa. And why I say that is he's already killed almost every single woman from the Stark family, kind of in a way. What I mean by that is he literally pushed her aunt out of a moon, the moon hole. He's like, I'm in love with her. You know, he really likes Caitlyn. You know, he loved Catelyn Stark.
Yeah.
And he also brings that up. He's like, your dad loved her, but I love Sansa. And like, that's when Jon was like, does his little rage moment. But I think it would be fitting for Littlefinger to kill her because she's not that big of a main character anymore. And I think that would
huge.
Probably work out. Nah,
she's too huge, dude.
She's
way too huge.
I feel like she definitely still has a big role in it because she's one, other than Arya, which everybody thinks is dead. She is one of the last Starks.
Maybe Arya kills Littlefinger.
I could see that.
I could see that too.
I just said that, honestly.
Now, okay, here's the thing. Sansa.
You know what? I think Littlefinger is going to get killed by Arya Stark.
Is that your prediction?
Yeah, that's my prediction. So what's your prediction?
I just said that.
Hey, my prediction is Arya Stark's going to kill Littlefinger. I'm just kidding. I heard you the first time. Sorry, man.
I know.
So go ahead.
No. What was I going to say? No, Sansa is way too important of a character right now.
I agree.
She is. In the end, if Jon for some reason dies or becomes king of Westeros for whatever reason, Sansa is going to be the queen of the North. She's going to take over House Stark. That's how it's going to go. Bran's not going to go back to House Stark. He's not going to take it back up. He's going at the end of everything, he's going to find himself a werewood tree, and he's going to just nuzzle up to it with Nyra next to his lap, and they're going to like inform into it and become the three-eyed raven forever. That's what I think is going to happen when Bran, maybe not with like Mira Reed, but hey, fanfics, there you go. Sansa's going to take over Starks. I don't think there's no way that Jon will end up there at the end of the series. For that reason alone, I do think Littlefinger loves Sansa. But more importantly, he loves Catelyn. And like it's said in the books, and it's also said in the TV show, that Sansa is a complete copy of Catelyn when she was younger. So Littlefinger is automatically like, I love her.
Yeah.
I don't see Littlefinger killing Sansa. I don't think that's a possibility.
Mark my words.
All right. I'll mark your words. I'll mark them.
And mark them up. But no, so let's move this a little bit quicker on.
Yeah, let's get it on.
Okay, so the last thing I want to go over is the return of Reek.
Yeah.
The return of Reek and that whole thing. I know that me and Dakota are kind of salty about the ending tonight. We were really salty, too. Actually.
There is an ocean, and I just sucked it up, and now I'm really salty.
Yeah, we felt like that. Some of the key points that we felt like that we were salty about, the 3 snake sisters.
The
sand
got
snake.
wrecked by
They just
Euron.
got wrecked. Jovan, man, he was just killing everyone.
It made me very sad too, because you've seen what a great fighter their dad was against the mountain. He was very skilled, very trained.
Yeah, I think I knew for a fact that was going to happen. The second that it showed them leaving, I'm like, Euron's going to come in. He's going to destroy them. He's going to kill most of the sand snakes. I thought he was going to kill them all, but then the last one and then the mom was took and captured. And I'm like, that must be the gift
for Cersei.
Yeah. She's going to be the gift because she poisoned
the daughter.
Yeah,
Marcella. And I think what's going to happen is Cersei's going to poison that sand snake that's left over. And she's going to force her to watch. Or poison herself. Like one of those two things. I also agree. I felt like the sand snakes went out like a little babies. I actually felt a lot of dread whenever I saw him strangling the one. But you did know that they were not even half the fire that Martell was. Because they said like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's like, no, you're not half as good as
like the one was like, I'm gonna take on the mountain. It's like you couldn't even defeat a Greyjoy. What do you think you're gonna do with the mountain?
Boom, mic drop.
I am sad that they're gone. But hey, Game of Thrones have a very strict budget and they have to start killing off some of these actors or else they're not going to make the budget. I was really expecting Theon, okay, first off, Euron, when he was there fighting, freaking, that was bloodlust. It was chaotic. It was really cool. I liked how he fight. He was very psychotic. I'm already not liking him, but I don't like him because he's opposition that is what you call, he's smart. Like, he isn't just, cocky, kind of like Cersei is, where she's like, I have power because I have the throne. He's like, I have power because I'm good at what I do. He's like Ramsay Bolton. But
yeah,
he has ships and a possible kingdom now.
He's extremely skilled with a battle axe.
Yeah, he is. And I just...
When he was fighting, he kind of made me feel kind of funny. Like when we used to climb the rope in gym class.
Congratulations. But that whole scene with Theon and his sister and he's holding an axe, I'm like, if he moves to attack her, I'm pretty sure he's just gonna slice her neck and kill him. But how he jumped off the boat, I was just kind of like, oh my gosh.
You seen the reek snap in his face?
Yep, I saw that and I knew it. I was like, what a coward. But let's give it to Theon Greyjoy, like what we talked about. Theon and AK Reek has made it this far because he's been a coward. He's been pretty bad lately.
It doesn't matter if he's been a coward. Now he has officially ruined his possibility of ever getting anywhere. If he goes back to Daenerys, she's going to look at him as a coward and she's going to exile him. If Osha gets out from Euron and she finds him, she's going to denounce him as a coward and not as her brother anymore. It's just one of the things that he has ruined himself as a character. I had a little want of a Theon redemption that has kind of dwindled away to where I'm like, just kill the guy. I'm tired of seeing him. He's just not I don't care for his character anymore. I started to care for him. And then when this happened, I'm just like, it's like when your friend who like does drug or something like that relapsed for like the 10th time. You're just kind of like, I'm sorry, dude, I can't go back to you. Like, you've been reek for too long. I can't keep with this emotional baggage. Get out of here.
Yeah, right, Dakota?
Yep.
Okay, I love you. Okay, so like, yeah, we were both salty about that. I was really salty when the ending was just him floating on a board. And I was like, well, that was not really that great of an ending. Worst ending ever.
Just start hearing the Titanic theme song.
The hot dogs will go on.
Yeah.
The hot dogs will go on. But yeah, overall, okay, so what do you think? Let's bring this up. Which house won this week?
You want my personal opinion?
Yeah, your personal opinion.
I'm going to say, so I'm going to break it up into 3 teams right now, because you have the Starks, you have the Targaryens, and you have the Lannisters, which I combine the Lannisters with Euron, I combine Daenerys with all them, and I combine Starks with who they have. Lannisters won. Lannisters, what they did in this episode was, one, showed that Euron can get crap done. They destroyed their plot to take over the Dornish Isles, and as long as the Dornish woman and her daughter is captured, the Dornish will not fight. They will not send troops or anything like that. So they effectively cut off the Dornish support.
Yeah.
That is a huge military victory, and I think this fight will lead Daenerys into stop trusting Tyrion, because she's going to blame Tyrion for this loss, which really she should blame the Ironborn for this loss, because they were not they were just relaxing, having carefree time. That's what allowed them to be attacked. So in my book, Team Lannister won, Cersei up to the Starks won. What about you, Austin? What about you, Dakota? You said first, so you get to go.
Yeah, go ahead, Dakota.
I agree, though. I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say, well, if we're categorizing, we can't categorize the Greyjoys by themselves, because they're really not by themselves at this point, you know? They're kind of all a split house. They're with, some of them are with the the Targaryens, and some are with the Lannisters.
Yeah.
But I definitely think the Lannisters won, because of they completely stopped and ruined that whole attack. You know, it was crazy how quickly they went down too, with how big of a siege they had to head towards King's Landing, and how fast it just fell like that. But I definitely say the Lannisters / Euron Greyjoy's side won this week.
Yep, I agree with you. Okay, Austin, go against us.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to give it to. I can't give it to a house this week. I just can't give it to a house this week. Reason why: none of the house's stories really, really excited me at all. But I'm gonna give it to one person that's just it was great, and I'm gonna give that to Sam. I think I really liked Sam's story. I like that Sam is growing into this character that's like a really caring person. He's willing to do the things he needs to do to help people, and I love the fact that he took, he's the part where the Grand Maester was talking to him in the library where he's stacking books. He's like, I heard about as severe as Grayscale has been, that that someone has done a procedure and it's done well. And he's like, oh yeah, do you know what happened to that person? No, he got it too, and he died. So I'm just astonished, because Sam is stepping up. Like, the first time we met Sam to where Sam is now, I really like how the character got built, because the thing was like I related to Sam. He was a really, really, he was kind of that person that was just broken down. He felt like he was worthless, and now he's like in that part where he's that character that everyone loves now, because he's gonna know things, he's gonna figure out things. He's playing very important roles in the houses now. Two things that Sam plays in that is I would have to say the 2 ravens that were sent to Winterfell. Well, the first Raven was Sam. Sam saving. I'm pretty sure he's going to save him from Grayscale. And also, I think that Sam's going to find out a lot more now. And I think what's going to happen, what I believe, is two things could happen with Sam. One, they find out he cured the Grayscale, and they're going to promote him, and he's going to be like a high macer. Or they're going to hate that he did that and broke the rules, and they're going to kind of just shun him, like completely just shut him out, throw him out of the Citadel.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think the second one's going to happen. They're going to find out that he performed the surgery. He's going to get kicked out. So Jorah Mormont's going to protect him and save him. They're going to escape. And they're either going to go to Winterfell or Storm's End. I'm figuring Storm's End because it's closer. Not Storm's End. Dragonstone. They're probably going to go to Dragonstone, and that's when Sam's going to meet up with Jon because Jon's on his way there anyways, and that's when they're going to talk about it. And I think that's when they're going to really cure the Grayscales once they get to Dragonstone.
Okay. Also, too, is let's bring up before we end this is there was two characters that were completely incognito tonight. One was Bran, and the other one was the red hair guy. The wildling. I always forget his name. Tormund. You know, they was completely incognito tonight. They didn't really bring up anything, but I think Bran's making his way to Winterfell.
Same with the Hound. The Hound wasn't a part of this episode.
Exactly. He had a big important role last episode.
Well, it's because they're all going to the same place, and we know that they're doing. You got the Hound going to Eastwatch. You have Tormund's going to Eastwatch. And Bran's going south to Winterfell, or what we understand, he's going south to Winterfell. We know that he's at the Night's Watch right now. He's probably on his way south. Now, I think Tormund's going to meet up with the Hound at some point, and they're going to figure out some things. But I know that Tormund's only meant to go to Eastwatch for a reason, and the reasons blew my mind. It was like shown for a single second where he's just like, "Oh, I'll do it." And then that's it. And then he like gave the little like wink, wink, snug to Brienne, and then he was off.
Okay. So, did you watch the new episode of Game of Thrones? Sorry if we spoiled it, and you knew it because part of this podcast is us spoiling those episodes. I just want to thank Dakota for coming on today to Nerd Watch. Hopefully we'll have you back a couple times. I know that you're going to be probably coming over almost every Sunday now to watch Game of Thrones because I have HBO now. But also too is I want to thank Josiah. Always a pleasure.
No problem.
Also, too, is I just want to do a little hindsight. If you're new and you're watching, make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. We also do a giveaway every month, and also too is we're going to bring up that we're going to be in Akron, Ohio, this Saturday coming up. We are going to be part of a Smash Bros tournament. So if you notice and you're part of the Facebook group, you can stop by and see us, and get to meet us because we love to meet the people that are our fans. So I just want to thank everyone that came on tonight. And remember, next week we will be back with episode 3. So just remember, if you're not nerd enough, you're not classy enough for this channel. Have a good night, everyone.